Hi everyone, Fenris Models here, and today we'll be taking a look at the F-14A with Jolly Roger scheme from Academy in 1/144th scale. The build for this kit was fairly quick. Really, all things considered, I think I spent maybe 6 hours on it total, excluding drying times. It's definitely a weekend build, even if you were to go much more in depth with your detailing than I have here, but we'll get into all that later. For now, all of the pieces were removed from the sprue with side cutters and placed on the instructions so as to ensure they would not go missing. Each piece was then cleaned of any excess plastic with a sharp hobby blade. The first portion to be assembled was the cockpit, with all of 6 pieces needing affixing. Once in place, the cockpit received a coat of Vallejo Model Air Dark Gold Gray 71.277. After that, the instrument panels were painted in model color black 70.950. Then the cockpit could be sealed into place. The rest of the plane went together smoothly, though if you do want the wings to be able to move together, you need to be a bit careful with your cementing. Because I was using Tamiya extra thin cement and wasn't fully paying attention, I did wind up cementing both wings in place. It's not a big deal for me since I'll be displaying it in flight anyway, but it's something to be aware of if you plan to keep that functionality intact. The canopy was quickly masked, and then painting could begin. And yeah, we're already at this stage. As I said, this was a quick build. Because of the small size of the subject, I opted for pre-shading over marbling. Using the same black as before, I simply hit each panel line, crevice, sharp corner, or any other places where shadows would naturally gather. Keeping this a little messy will also aid in giving some tonal variation and visual interest to the finish. Black was also used to paint the tail fins. Then the whole plane received a coat of Vallejo Model Air Light Gull Gray 71.121. This coat was lightly applied so as to allow the pre-shading to show through. And of course, before decals could be applied, I needed to do some detail work, a little bit of cleanup, and to make a horrible decision. For some reason, I thought it would be a good idea to freehand the black in the center of the fuselage rather than masking it off. It was probably equal parts laziness since I'd just gotten done cleaning the airbrush. I didn't want to, break that back out, and just wanting to get the kit wrapped up. Either way, you can see how terrible the line work is, not up to my usual standards at all. The tail fins needed a little cleaning up due to catching a little of the overspray from the gray. Once this dried, the tops of each were colored with model color flat yellow 70.953. Dark gold gray was used again on this section just behind the wings. And model color gunmetal gray 70.863 was used on the engine nozzles. The paint was left to cure, then the model received a coat of Mr. Super Clear gloss varnish. While the varnish dried, the decals were removed from the sheet with a hobby blade. Now, I'll admit here that I did not use all of the decals from my chosen scheme. This was in part due to the size of the model. I just didn't think it was worth it to fight such tiny stencils on such a small model. The decals themselves were quite nice to work with though. They weren't cartographed, but they were definitely high quality. All they needed was a quick soak in water to start to release from the backing paper, and then they were slid into place. I didn't even need any microset or microsol for these. Tamiya panel liner accent color black was then used to pick out all of the panel lines and tiny details on the model. This was cleaned up with a cotton bud damp with artist's white spirits, and I made sure to wipe in the direction of airflow or gravity depending on what made sense for the surface. Once happy with the wash, I could remove the canopy mask. Black was used to pick out the canopy frame, as well as cleaning up some of those lines I was so unhappy with. Lastly, Tamiya X25 Clear Green was used to pick out the center canopy where the HUD was projected. And with that, we can call this one complete. So yeah, that was my build of Academy's F-14A Tomcat in 1/144th scale. I'll be honest, I wasn't super happy with this one, mostly because I don't feel like it's up to my usual standards, at least in part due to those free-handed lines on the fuselage. But let me know in the comments below what you thought of it. This kit also was a bit of a slog for me to build. While the build itself went quickly, it took me forever to find the energy to work on it. I don't know what it was, but something about it just made the whole thing feel like a chore. I think it's in part because I did this build over the holidays and maybe I was just in full disconnect mode, but I just had such a hard time getting to work on it. Which is a shame because it's a beautiful little kit. It goes together like a dream, has some great schemes, and it looks awesome once finished. I definitely recommend this kit if you're in the mood for a smaller build. Thank you to my gift set tiered patron Calibear and to all of my starter set patrons. Your support means the world to me. And thank you for watching. If you enjoy my content and would like to be notified when the next video releases, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Make sure to either thumbs up or thumbs down this build as well, and let me know in the comments why. I respond to each and every comment that's made on my videos, so, throw your questions in there as well. Now, it's about time for me to log off so I can work on this next video subject, but if you want to keep watching, how about check out one of these two videos here. Regardless, stay safe, and keep modeling.